Talia?
Yes.
Hi.
Hi, you with us?
Yeah.
Hi, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Did I get the vote? Did I get a 2 yes or just a 1? Heather? Is Heather there?
Right now, where I am, I do not want where I don't want them to have my word.
But then I won't be able to hear their comments.
You can tell people they're on mute, and then I can take them off mute for any Q&A sessions towards the end.
But I just need to know if they're both in because I didn't hear them both.
We have Heather and Talia in.
Heather and Talia, you're both with us, I'm assuming.
Uh-huh.
Okay, but there's no background noise, so maybe we'll put up mute, and then we'll just have to do questions later on as we go. If you want to mark your questions down, so we won't forget anything. First, I'd like to introduce. I'll introduce myself. I'm Ayelet. I'm the director of the International B.A. in Liberal Arts, and this is one of our most fantastic students, Michelle. She's joining me in this session to bring her input, and perhaps for later, if you have any questions for her, she would be more than happy to answer. We'll begin. Yeah, David, do you have anything to say?
No, that's fine.
Okay.
Just let me know and I can move between the slides on the screen.
Okay, yeah, so we can move on. So I'll introduce the International B.A. in Liberal Arts that we have in our university, but before that, we'll just have a quick overview of what Tel Aviv is. So in Tel Aviv, which is one of the most prestigious university in Israel, we have an international office that provides, accommodates over 3,000 students and over 600 international programs over here. We have as you can see, we have 3 undergraduate programs and graduate programs and study abroad programs and short-term programs, which accommodates many students from around the world. If you want to kind of get Tel Aviv in numbers, we can go on to the next slide. We take a quick glance at Tel Aviv regarding numbers, then each day we have 30,000 students enter the gates of Tel Aviv, and an alumni of over 15,000 students, international students. Many research institutions and schools and departments, which actually formed by 9 different faculties around the big campus of Tel Aviv. It is the first choice among Israeli students. As I said, it's the most prestigious one, and you can see that the ranking that we have, top 100 innovation university and 8 out of the top 10 schools, which produces venture capitals backed by founders. Many high-tech companies and thinkers come from this university. Okay, so if we're moving on to specifically the International B.A. in Liberal Arts, I will introduce actually 2 programs of the liberal arts. I'll first introduce this one, and the second one will be a dual program that we have with Columbia, that this specific program is the base for it. So currently we have this International B.A. in Liberal Arts running in the university very successfully for the past 8 years. It is a 3-year program that's done completely here in English, and it's formed of 120 credits, which the students have to accumulate. We have currently, it's a boutique program. We have 140 students enrolled in our program, and over 500 countries around the world. This program is a track-based program, and that would mean that the students don't just pursue one track or one line or one path of studies. We open a very wide range of studies before them to ensure that they receive very broad knowledge of various disciplines. We will see what are the tracks in the following slide. And because it is can be quite challenging to build a schedule and to follow the tracks and the credits that needs to be done, we have an academic advisor that's constantly here advising the students and helping them build a schedule. So to make sure that they can achieve their all the credits that they need within the 3 years. As I said, it's a boutique program, and we try to keep our classes small, and that's also to enable a very close and to facilitate productive discussion, and to keep the students very much engaged in the conversations and in the courses given. The cultural diversity, just to so you can see where our students are from, the 35 countries. We should have put this. I'm thinking I should have put this. Yes. Excuse me. I think this slide should have been previously put. But just as a framework, you can see that most of our students are from the United States, but we have from all over the world, from Europe, from Latin America, Africa, Southeast Asia. Really, we're all over the globe. If you walk between program, in the corridors of the program, you would think that we can make world peace in 2 minutes, because everybody is just so peaceful and friendly and amazing with each other. Sadly, that's not the case, but there is still hope. So after we've looked at the diversity, I'll go back to the curriculum of the program. And okay, so we were mentioning that we have, we have 8 tracks offered in this program. Out of the 8 tracks, the students actually pick 4. The tracks that we will have currently, the tracks that we're offering in starting from fall 2020 are entrepreneurship and innovation, philosophy, life science, psychology, Middle Eastern studies, Jewish studies, literature, and digital culture and communication. So how does this work? Out of these 4 tracks, the students pick 4 that are more of interest to them, what they aspire to deepen their knowledge in. And in the first year, they will take core classes that are everybody in this program needs to take, and required classes of the 4 tracks that they have built. So it's kind of like a buffet in the first year, where they kind of take a pick and taste of courses of the 4 tracks that they preferred. And it's built like this, so in their second year, they can make an educated decision which of the 4 tracks they would like him to be a major and a minor and 2 basic tracks. So that's how the 4 tracks kindly divide up in the second and third year. Regarding application requirements for this program, as you can see on the bottom, so we require an SAT of 1100 or an ACT of 21. Final high school transcript. We do not accept any online high schools. It's not admissible in Tel Aviv University. An essay of any subject that resonates with the candidate, and 2 recommendations letters, best that if it would involve academic merits of the candidate. So this is kind of a recap of the initial program of the BA, and maybe we'll take a little pause for questions before I go to the Columbia program.
If anyone's got any questions, then I'm just unmuting everyone, so they're welcome to.
Are there any questions that you would like to raise at this point? that you might want me to address? Okay, so I think we're good.
Okay, so we'll continue.
So let's continue to next program. Earlier this year, right around, I think, November, yeah, we launched a dual degree program between us and Columbia as, I think, as a vote of confidence and belief in our International B.A. of its quality. Then Columbia signed this dual degree agreement with us. They have only 3 other institutions around the world that have formed this dual degree with them. It's Sciences Po in Paris, Hong Kong, and Trinity in Dublin. So we are the 4th institution around the world that has signed this dual degree program with. And the first cohort will actually be applying, well, they're applying right now. The first cohort will begin come next fall. So the program is actually built on the International B.A., which I've just introduced. Only this program, the dual degree program, is a 4-year program where the first 2 years are done in Tel Aviv and years 3 and 4 are done in Columbia. It's built exactly on the same tracks. The first 2 years that will be done in Tel Aviv are exactly in the same framework as I introduced regarding tracks. These students will study with our current students, with the same professors, with the same classes, with the same program and curriculum. And in the years 3 and 4, they will segue their way into Columbia. After 4 years, they will receive 2 B.A. degrees and not 1. From Tel Aviv University, they will receive a B.A. in multidisciplinary program in the humanities. And from Columbia, they will receive a B.A. From the School of General Studies. Now, regarding accreditation, since they're not they're not completing B.A. over here, nor there, there's kind of a mutual accreditation system between Tel Aviv and Columbia. So over here, since our program is a 3-year program, I'll just go down into numbers a little bit. As this is a 3-year program, the initial program, so it's 120 credits. That would mean they need to do 40 credits every year. So in the first 2 years, the dual degree students will accumulate 80 credits over here. They will take 60 from here, which will be accredited in Columbia. In Columbia, they will study an additional 64 credits. That way, they would accumulate the 124 credits needed in Columbia. And of that 64, they will bring back 40 credits from Columbia, which we will credit here in Tel Aviv. And this way, by this mutual accreditation system, they'll be able to graduate with 2 B.A. degrees. 2 important points regarding tuition. Tuition in this program is actually by the institute studying in. So the tuition in Tel Aviv is $12.5 thousand. So it will be like this in the same 2 years that they're here. $20,000 that you see here refers to tuition plus housing. And in Columbia, years 3 or 4 are by the Columbia tuition, which is approximately $80,000 per year, including housing. And requirements to this dual degree program is slightly higher than the International B.A. As you can see, the SAT here is 1,400, and ACT is higher, it's 34. And regarding the other requirements, final entry, high skill transcript, essay recommendations, it's basically the same. So this is kind of a recap of these 2 programs. There's a lot of information in these 2 in these two slides that sum up the two programs. I think that before we go any further to I think now would be a great time for questions either to me or to Michelle, of course. I think it's very important to address her if you're having questions that you think your students will be interested in.
Yeah, I think that's but
Any questions from anyone? Feel free just to shout out.
Hello?
No? Okay.
Do we have questions for anybody, from anybody regarding this program? Either of the programs?
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, of course.
There's just a lot of background noise, so if you could
Who
just
wants to
raise
ask
your
the
voice.
question? Is it Heather, or I'll just mute other people? Hello?
Heather, who wants to ask a question? I'm sorry.
I can't hear. If you just want to shout louder.
Heather, Talia.
Oh, maybe it's coming through here.
Okay, hi.
Hi.
Oh, here we go.
To my question.
Oh, hi, Talia. Yeah.
Okay, I thought I was doing it through the chat.
Yeah.
Are there going to be scholarships for this program?
For which
For
one?
either
I need you to be a little more specific.
For the dual degree, Tel Aviv University and Columbia?
For the dual degree program, on part of the, regarding the dual degree program, currently we are working with Columbia to see how we make a special basket. Right now, all the tuition assistance regarding Columbia is kind of poured into the big basket of tuitions of the entire Columbia. But what we're trying to do right now with Columbia, and we're pretty successful, just that I can't say numbers yet. There will be scholarships available. I don't know how much, but the percentage will be approximately 25–30% of the tuition. As far as we know, it won't be a full tuition assistance availability.
Even if in America you would have been eligible for that based
Currently,
on
that's the best I can say. Should we be
okay.
Differently informed, there will be no one happier than me, because it is a very expensive program, and it's quite an incentive to come here, not because only the program is amazing, but of course when full tuition is available. But that's currently not the case.
And can I also ask, the students that are on the dual degree program or the international program, are there dormitories on Tel Aviv University's campus? It's the same.
Yes,
dorm.
Yes, definitely. Regarding the dorms, then there are special dorms that are dedicated to the international students in our programs. They all live in the same area, and so they're, and not only that, there's also what we call madrichim. It's kind of counselors that are always there. There's always somebody on call 24/7 for anything that needs to be addressed. There's also student life unit that takes care of the students that come from abroad. As we know that they're fairly young and they come here by themselves, so they can join weekly tours, after hours experiences, trips to the north and to the south every semester. So there's a lot of activity going on, and they're never alone, and there are dorms that are completely dedicated to them, so you can all be in touch with each other and with us.
And then it's near the campus, so they
Very
can...
much so. It's right across the street. It's really on campus even.
Okay, so you walk to your classes.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. And it's in Tel Aviv, and it's not only is it in Tel Aviv, it's in the center of Tel Aviv. So everything is just a few steps away. The central mall and several bus stations and traffic transportation is very, very easy here. And essentially you can walk everywhere, to the supermarket, to the post office, to the mall, anywhere. There is all transportation, scooters everywhere. It's very alive and very welcoming, and you never find yourself alone or bored over here.
And is there, like, in the dormitory, is there a meal plan? Is it apartment style? Do the students?
It's apartments. It's not, there's no meal plan. It's apartments. Okay. And I think that maybe even for living in the dorms, I would like you to hear it firsthand from Michelle, as Michelle is in the dorms, and she can tell you even better how she feels in the dorms, how she plans her meals, where she's going. So I'm turning over the answer to Michelle.
Hi, Talia.
Hi.
I can speak firsthand. I'm a second year student in the International B.A. program, the first one that Ayelet introduced. I very much have enjoyed the apartment style of the dorms, because I think it has given me the opportunity, I guess, to grow up and pick up skills. Aside from learning and experimenting with cooking different dishes and cooking with my friends and inviting them over, I think just on a basic experience of you transition safely into what life after college would look like. So basically you have like a quasi apartment experience before you have to live independently by yourself and have to worry about utilities and maintenance and other facilities that need to be sorted out. Because I think the convenience of living in the dorms as opposed to renting out an apartment separately is that in the dorms, things like there's a maintenance team that can come and fix things. If there's like a broken shower or your stove or your fridge isn't working, they get to take care of that. So unlike if I was living outside in a separate apartment, I would have to be dealing directly with the house owner of my apartment or wherever else I was staying, having to deal with that. I've had friends who've had problems and it's significantly affected whether they could come to class that day or not, and so you bypass a lot of things that you would have to negotiate. I know a lot of people would be used to the meal plan system, but I think there are affordances that have been made. The grocery stores, there's quite conveniently 4 grocery stores that are quite close to you. So, and within walking distance, it's 5 minutes to all 4 of them. So that makes it a lot easier and much smoother transition.
And how many people are in a dorm room? How many people do you live with?
Okay, so each dorm room, each apartment is a 2-bedroom apartment with 2 people in each dorm room. It's quite similar to the structure that you would have in a regular dorm room, where you would have a bed in one side of the room dedicated to each student. You have your desk, your cubbies, and a full closet for each one of you, as well as extra storage possibilities. You have a shared kitchen space and a shared bathroom, and the kitchen comes fully furnished. So you have the fridge as well as the rooms themselves. They come fully furnished. So that much comes pre.
Mm-hmm. And is there, I know this is going to sound a little silly, but are there kosher dorms? Like, is there a way that you can keep kosher in the dormitory?
Definitely.
Or does that just depend on who you're living with?
You can definitely request for a kosher dorm. So when you're applying for housing, you can, there's this particular section that asks you if you keep kashrut, and you indicate that you would like to live with people who keep kashrut as well. If you're coming in with your friends, you could also sign up for housing with your friends and note the names of the people you would like to be put in the same apartment with. So if it's the 4 of you, you would write each other's names, and they would recognize in the system that these 4 people want to be put together in one apartment. If it's just you and your friend, or 3 or 2 of you, then there's an allowance for that.
And then do you find, I mean, have you found that you've stayed friends with the people that are in your program just, or do you branch out to other students? Like where most of your classes, it's with just in the international program?
For my first year, it tended to be more people in my international program, but within the second year, we began to integrate a lot more with the students coming from the Hebrew track, mostly because the university has started making it mandatory for students in the Hebrew track to also take English courses from our program. So we began to intermingle a lot more with those students. So going here on forward, and even with the introduction of the new tracks as Ayelet posed, they take up from also the business program and the engineering program. So you will be engaging students from other fields on the campus as well.
I want to add to what Michelle said, that at the beginning, they're very, very, really attached to the people from their own country, and makes them feel a little more secure and at home. But as they feel secure pretty quickly, then they start opening their boundaries, and they form cliques, and cliques with another clique, and then they really want to be in touch with the Israeli environment and the vibe. And we do the best that we can in order to help them kind of immerse inside. One more thing I want to say about the kosher issue. On campus, there are hundreds. The entire campus of Tel Aviv has really hundreds, I think, of food courts with many, many cafes and shops and restaurants. They're all kosher. They must be kosher on campus, okay? So that's a significant input.
You know, and is there ulpan? Do the international students have to take an ulpan?
Okay, until this year, an additional language was mandatory. So they had to take either ulpan or any additional language other than English. From this current year that just began, then it's not mandatory. It's not mandatory at all. Having said that, one of the problems that we decided to not make it mandatory was because it was a little difficult to teach an additional language in Hebrew. So it would be to teach a foreign language, and a foreign language was a little tough, except the ulpan that was kind of accommodated. So it's not mandatory to take an additional language, but from next year, we're going to add Arabic and English inside our program, and they will both be taught in English for those who would like to take it inside their tracks.
So the international program is all in English.
Yes,
all of your
correct.
classes are in English.
Only in English.
And then, can you ever take a class in Hebrew, like in the university, or it's very prescribed? The courses you must take must come from this particular track,
Okay.
and so very specific.
Okay, that's a very good question, and I will answer. If you have a student that is comfortable auditing a class in Hebrew, that is comfortable in Hebrew, that it's acquainted enough in Hebrew, then that's a completely different ballgame, because in that case, then the entire university is open before him or her, and they can take any course that they would like. We would have to be notified of that, and they can audit, and basically they can even hand in the paper or the exam in English, but under the condition that we can accredit that under one of the 8 tracks. As for instance, if he or she is interested in linguistics, that's beautiful, and they can go and audit any class in Hebrew, but I will not be able to accredit that course because it doesn't associate with any of our 8 tracks. But if there's a course in psychology that we don't have in our psychology Of course, in psychology, we don't have in our curriculum, but they would like to take it in the School of Psychology, and that's absolutely fine. We can accredit that in our track.
So it looks like Heather had a question. I don't know if you see her in the chat about, do students take classes from the 8 areas in the Columbia program too?
What, I'm sorry, what's the question?
Heather's question that she chatted was, do students take classes from the 8 areas in the Columbia program too? So I guess maybe if you have literature about what those 8 tracks look like and what the courses might be, both at Tel Aviv and in Columbia,
Yes.
that might be easy for us to read over.
I will tell you exactly what to do. Okay, so the 8 tracks are the same 8 tracks for the liberal arts and for the Columbia. And they are, the 8 tracks that they do are on this side. When they go to Columbia, I'm referring right now to the Columbia dual degree, okay? The 8 tracks are open for both courses. When they segue their way to Columbia, they're going to continue their studies over there with everything that the School of General Studies has to offer, okay? Once they're here, it's the same 8 tracks for them and for the liberal arts students. And out of the 8, they pick only 4. Okay, did I address the question?
I think so. I think it's looking from those 4, like the what courses, like.
Okay, then I will refer you. You need to look in our website.
Okay.
The website, maybe I'll write it down here.
Okay.
Yeah, it's I just want to be sure. If you log on to liberal arts on TAU, just want to make sure that I'm not missing the letter. Excuse me. Yes. You need to log on liberal arts TAU. It's like this.
Mitarbeiten here.
And it's one word.
I'm gonna raise the paper.
Okay.
It's liberal arts hyphen, okay, liberal hyphen arts.tau.ac.il. David is going to put it in the chat.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
And Heather had a question about.
I want to tell you where you can find the curriculum, the exact curriculum that you're looking for. Yes, David, that is our website. When you log on to this website, on the right side, you will see curriculum 2019-2020. If you press on the right side on the curriculum, then the page that will open, you will see titles, core studies, literature, digital communication, digital culture and communication. Once you press the pluses, an entire list of courses will open for you. You can go into each course and read about it. Okay, you have the entire curriculum of this year over there, and that will give you an idea of the contents of each track.
And so that's the academic advising, and by the first semester, that's what the academic advisor is helping students with, to choose the different courses.
The student will come and say, listen, I'm really passionate about literature and psychology. I don't know which one I would like to major in, and I also want to take some courses in Middle Eastern studies and Jewish studies. Okay?
Right.
So the academic advisor will build a schedule with the core classes that they need to take of required classes from these 4 tracks that I've just mentioned. And after a year, he says, or she says, oh, I just fell in love with philosophy and I want to make it my major, but I want to switch. I want the psychology to be a basic and I want Middle Eastern studies to be a minor. So the academic advisor will build a schedule to help them accumulate the credits that they need to continue with these tracks. Okay? Mm-hmm. So every single semester, they build a track for a year, but they can add and drop twice a year classes, okay? So you have an added drop form, and between semesters, let's say they have too much of a workload, so they want to drop a course. They don't like some kind of professor that gives another course the following semester, they can switch courses. And the academic advisor always overviews this to make sure that they don't drop a required classes, that they keep the credits that they need to take that specific semester. So he's constantly with them, okay? Not to let them build this alone, because it is kind of complicated to puzzle it all together.
And I see I'm on the website that you
Right.
said, thank you, that curriculum. So it says core. So core is something from each of the different areas, it looks like.
Core is, are you talking about core curriculum? You're talking about the core curriculum?
Wait, you said go to curriculum 2019-20.
Right, yes.
And so it's divided up. It says core,
Right.
digital culture and communication.
Right, you can see right there only 6 tracks. The 2 new tracks of life science and entrepreneurship will open only on fall 2020, and we're building them right now, and they will be added to that page. But what your question right now is regarding the core classes.
Right, that's what everybody takes in their first
Everybody
year.
takes that. Everybody takes not. Yeah, everybody takes these courses.
Mm-hmm. Got it.
These are courses that are mandatory. We feel that it's very, very. It's our responsibility in liberal arts to give them a wide range of knowledge in various disciplines and areas.
I got it. And then they would go into one of these tracks, and then
Right.
that's what's required from all of the different tracks.
So out of the tracks, there's some that are required.
That's what's offered. Like this is what was offered this fall and this spring from the different tracks. So you get a sense of what kind of classes are available if you want to focus on Middle Eastern studies.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. And is it something like that'll be offered this year, like I see in the fall, for example, social and cultural history of the Middle East? Is that going to be offered just in the fall, not in the spring?
What you see in the fall is in the fall, and in the spring, and it kind of varies each every other year. We kind of switch it because I can't put the same classes in fall and spring, because it's the students are in the same. That's the student in the tracks that can take something else in the spring if they when they continue inside the track.
Got it. Okay, so that's why you could take either history of the Middle East modern period first, or social and cultural history.
But if they want, the thing is that next year the courses vary. Some of them stay, some of them vary, some of them we give every other year, and that enables them to take courses that they didn't take the first fall, and they can take in their 3rd year if they want, or in the 2nd year. It depends how they build their schedule.
I see. Okay. Are you, Michelle, what made you choose this program, if you don't mind talking about that?
Sorry, I couldn't get your question.
What made you choose this program, if you don't mind answering that?
Okay, no, not at all. I always wanted to study in the liberal arts program. I think I generally am a student who thrives from gaining a broad base of knowledge. That's always been, I guess, how I aspired. So that, alongside the fact that I was very interested in the Israeli-Palestinian issue from a perspective of, I think, international relations and conflict mediation and resolution, that really drew me to the program at TAU. And so I guess when it came up whether I would study here or in other liberal arts institutions, TAU really stood out for me.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Are there any other questions that you have in mind?
What are you hoping, like what would the cohort look like for this TAU Columbia program? Did you already say, are you hoping to keep it small? You know,
Cohort?
yeah.
The cohort, Well, we're looking around 40 people coming in. Our current, yeah, we're yeah, somewhere between 35 and 45 would be the approximate number.
So I have one more question. If I have a lot of students who they go to yeshivot and seminaries
Right.
for a year abroad,
Mhm.
if they wanted after that year
Yes.
to come to the program,
Yeah.
would they apply next year? Would they apply this year and defer?
No, you can apply this year and defer. For this year, application is already closed. They would apply next year. They would apply next year, and if they do study abroad, then maybe we can accredit some of their studies as well. But they cannot defer right now. They have to next year when I'm assuming around September, October, the application will begin, and yeah, they will need to apply them.
Okay. Gotcha. And then they could come and visit. Like, do you have that? Like,
Oh, absolutely. Anybody wants to come and visit, they can write me, and they can write TAWI, the TAW International. There's a very friendly form that they need to fill out, and our outreach coordinators set a tour with them. Campus tour here is beautiful. Our coordinators are amazing in their way. They take them around campus, and at the end, they even meet with me to answer any further questions that they have regarding these different programs.
okay. Thank you.
Of course. Anything else on anybody's mind? Questions, thoughts? I think we covered this. Let me just see if there's something that I'm just looking to see at the frequent questions that we have. Yes. You have students studying in yeshivot over here, and well, Tel Aviv. Although I don't know, it's you read on the newspapers and you watch CNN, so it does look we're in the midst of some kind of well, don't believe everything that you read and see. It's not all about that. Tel Aviv is an amazing place, and they think it's maybe very, 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 maybe one of the safest places around the world. It's very lively, and I got to tell you that even between people, everybody will give you a helping hand. If you fall on your trip, if you don't have money for the bus, you're always going to have somebody here that will reach out and help you, really. That's part of the Israeli culture, and it's a fairly safe place, I can say. Very, very safe place. I don't think anybody feels unsafe over here. As I mentioned before, we have a community here of international students and student life that office that takes care of our students and takes them out on trips and activities. And there are programs like Tazuz and Game On that really try to get them together and bring it together and create initiatives between. Do you want to add something? Anything you have to add, or you want to put your personal input inside and just hop inside? Yes. And as I mentioned before, regarding professors and as prestigious as this university is, still our professors are very, very much approachable, and everything is really on a first name basis, and students feel very comfortable approaching our students and approaching our professors, and professors really make time for them and very much aware of the special situation that these students are in. And basically, most of our international students here really get services and treatment that our regular Israeli students do not receive. I can actually say they're pretty much cuddled and cradled here because they are far away from home, and we're very aware of that, and we try to do all that we can to make their life here as easy and friendly as possible, because studies are they're not simple. There's a workload. Presence in class is mandatory, so we try to take care of everything else to help them have a free mind and really have their focus on their studies and on fun after their studies.
I think just to add on to what Ayelet says, from a student perspective, I've never at all felt unsafe being in Israel. I'm originally from Zimbabwe, so I'm a long way off from home. But in coming to Israel, this is my first time, so I have no family or friends that I can say is in Israel, but I've never at all felt like I was by myself. I've always had support. The student life team, the mental team, as she mentioned, they reach out to you within the first week of coming here. If there's any activity at all that's happening in the country, they find out if you're safe. If you're sick, you can call them in the middle of the night and express to them. They'll take you to the hospital. So I felt very supported, I think, as a student here. In terms of activities that you could do in and around Tel Aviv, just my friends alone have been a good opportunity in terms of getting into platforms and social societies and clubs that are not only on campus but also outside. There's Kamagar classes, there are people who are doing fencing. So there's a lot that you could do, and this comes with conversations that you have with your classmates in the international program. And so having that diversity alone, I think, allows you to branch off with people, I guess, who are sharing the same experience as you. With some, they come in already having either done their military service, so they've been in Israel and have gotten that experience of settling in the country. So they kind of take you by the hand, and then they show you the ropes in Israel, so you don't feel, I guess, alone by that extent. There's a club called the Ambassadors Club, which talks about the geopolitical aspect of things here, and also there's the Youth Innovation Forum, which is engaging students not only from the international program, but from graduate programs in the university and the main Hebrew track. So that is again another platform where we get to engage with people we wouldn't normally see in our classes. Professors also come in to sit in for the lectures that are offered there. So it's kind of a nice bubble where we get, I guess, as she was saying, it's a cushioned bubble where we get to meet with each other and share ideas. And I think that's the biggest plus that I can say I've experienced being here in Tel Aviv.
Okay. Talia, Heather.
Thank you for everything.
Thank you very much.
Telling us about it.
Thank you for joining us. If you have any further questions, then on the website that you're in, there's actually my email, and please feel free to ask and refer to me any students, questions, thoughts. I'd be more than happy to answer.
Heather says thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone. And we're now off.
You were amazing.
Amazing.
Thank
Wonderful.
you. Good job.